Good morning and happy day. Happy day. I don't know why that makes me laugh. I thought I'd jump on here live and talk about better ingredients because we've had some fantastic feedback coming through. So I feel like this needs to be on this side, except then you can't see my true form. But if I go like this, I block my true form logo. The challenges that we deal with. How about this? All right, so I just want to jump on here and talk about superior ingredients because the feedback we've had coming through has been amazing. I got to tell you, I'm so grateful for the comments and messages, and people are enjoying the flavor and they're enjoying the texture and how it mixes. So, I'm talking about our vanilla protein. If you weren't exactly sure, I was like, am I in the right group? Morning, Jen. Thanks for joining me. Am I in the CTP group, Jen? I think I should be this way a bit. I think I was a producer in my last life because everything has to be perfect. Okay, I'm going to go through a recipe with you. Maybe I should check this real quick. Let me know how everyone's doing this morning. How are you doing? Well, I know I can see a few people in here. I know sometimes we don't like to say hi or let anyone know you're here. But that's okay. I just checked. I'm good. Thanks, Jen. How do you guys like my new background? I thought it was fitting. I thought it matched because I'm gonna make a quick meal for you guys. Quick meal. You know what's kind of funny is that we have CTP, like we still have it. Of course, when we have new products, we need to promote the new products so people know about them and they know how to use them, and it's exciting. But we've had CTP for so long, which is a meal replacement, and I feel like people often ask for isolates, but they don't really know the difference. They just think they should be taking an isolate. But then now we have an isolate, and people are asking, like, "Oh, it's an isolate." Like, well, it's just protein. So we have 25 grams of protein, zero carbs, zero or sorry, 2 grams of carbs, zero sugars, grams of sugar. But then people are like, "Oh, well, then I should have some healthy fats." Like, well, there's no fats in there. So, and then carbs, a lot of people are afraid of carbs, but they feel like they should have some carbs. So, anyways, I thought I would offer a, I know what I can do. I would offer a quick recipe for you guys in case anyone, I hit the hearts for myself. I thought if I pulled my phone up, I could see who else is in here because you're sneakily watching. I was gonna outfox you. Okay. All right, so real quick about superior ingredients. We talked about, I put a really nice blog post together, which I'm going to put this together for. A nice write up. I'm going to put this video together with a blog post. And I just think, like, it's so hard. Like, we continue to tell people about superior ingredients. Like, what does superior ingredients mean? Like, so many times you have a low quality type of protein supplement and it's chalky, like it tastes chemically because there's chemicals in there for protein supplements, and there's tons of them. It's the market, the supplement industry is bombarded with them. So what we're trying to do is teach you that there's a different way and a better way. So our protein doesn't taste chalky because there's no chemicals that cause that chalky taste, that chalky aftertaste. And trust me, I've been there. I've tasted every protein on the market. No, just kidding. But I did go through a lot. Morning, Gloria. I did go through a lot of proteins in the past, and they just were chalky and chemically. And then, of course, we can talk about digestion, for example. And we had a lot of people write in and say, "Oh my gosh, I don't have any gas or bloating. I don't have indigestion." And it's because of superior ingredients. Like we always say, choose better. Like make a better choice for yourself. And in many cases, I don't think we realize the difference. Like we don't realize if you choose better ingredients, it'll react differently in your body. So you're not going to feel gas, you're not going to feel bloated if you have a better quality protein supplement with better ingredients. Better ingredients cost a bit more to produce, so you have to buy a better quality product that costs a little bit more. So if you go to the pharmacy, or if you go to the discount rack, or if you go to Costco and you find a super cheap protein supplement on the shelf because it's a good price, understand that there's a give and take. You're saving money, you might be saving some money, but you're going to be paying for it in the long run. So who's in here? Morning. Gloria said good morning. Good morning to you, Gloria. Thanks for joining me. So that, I mean, that's the difference. And again, it's so nice that people are writing in and they're telling us about how well the protein is going for them, and how good they're feeling on it, and how good it tastes. They're throwing it in smoothies, they're throwing it in shakes. That makes us feel so good. But I want people to understand the reason behind that. I mean, there's a reason behind that. So when you go and buy different, and don't get me wrong, it's not like we're the only company that has a good quality protein. I just think that the majority of people, they'll go and they'll get a really low, like a really cheap protein supplement, and then they compare the two. They're like, oh, I've tried protein, it doesn't work before, it doesn't work for me. And I'm like, well, what have you tried? And then they'll show me, and I'm like, oh. Well, I mean, they're two completely different products that probably shouldn't be in the same category. One should be in the health food category, and then the other should be in a cheap supplements category. And I'd imagine the companies wouldn't want to be in the cheap supplements company. So maybe it would make them put cleaner ingredients in their products. The only reason we design our own products is because I want there to be a better option on the market, and I want to raise awareness around it. That's why. If there were all clean products, then I probably wouldn't have any purpose in the supplement industry. I wouldn't continue to make better supplements or clean supplements. It's just that the industry is, it's marinated in low quality, cheap supplements, cheap ingredients. So that's why we have so many people come to us. And there's some of those companies, like some of those like multi-level companies that spend tons of money on marketing, not very much money on the quality of their product. And like some of those companies, they'll tell you just to have a couple of shakes a day. And we have people, and like, don't eat food, just have shakes, you lose a bunch of weight. But of course that isn't sustainable. Like, who's gonna have those shakes for the rest of their life? And then so when they go off the shakes and then start eating food again, their digestive system is upside down. They're like, what's happening? I haven't had food for 6 months or 2 years. Like, what are you doing to me? And those types of people come to us all the time with digestive issues, because that's one of the main things that we do, is help people naturally improve energy and improve their digestion. And I know it's not like a super interesting subject. It's not like pain. Like, pain's a big one that a lot of people are starting to come to us for, like pain and inflammation. And that's a big topic. And I don't know if digestion's a huge topic, because a lot of times people don't realize the difference. They don't realize what it's like to live with proper digestion, or what it's like to live with like the difference. Like, if you're always if you're always one way, like if you never sleep, you don't know what it's like to have a good night's sleep. You just think that's normal. If you're always constipated, you just think that's normal. Like, oh, I should probably deal with that at some point in my life, but 10 years later you haven't really gotten to it. So I don't think people are super interested in changing their digestion right away, or don't know how. So when it comes to the things that we're putting in our body, it makes such a big difference. I want to, so I don't know if you guys have any questions for me. Let me know, especially when it comes to, well, if it comes to digestion, of course we're talking about that. If it comes to our protein supplement as well, that's something that we can discuss. I don't plan on being here too long, depending on discussion. But in my bowl I have yogurt. So in most cases we choose dairy-free yogurt, but you can choose whatever you want. I mean, I don't really care. Honestly, I'm not going to tell you not to have dairy yogurt. I will tell you that dairy yogurt does cause issues to a lot of people in the digestive system. And that's not my opinion, that's facts. Just look it up. Especially, like, you look at cow's milk and people get upset, especially like dairy farmers. And they say, like, why aren't you recommending my milk? I'm like, I'm not, it's not my opinion, it's facts. Look up the number one allergen, and it will be dairy. Will be in the top 3 in every list. So consider, like when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about this recipe right here. This is going to be a dairy-free recipe, but you can use dairy if you want. Just understand that you may be intolerant, and you may not even know it. Jen says people also don't understand that gut health directly inflect. Whoa, I can't even weed this morning. People don't understand that gut health directly affects inflammation. Absolutely, that's a great point, Jen. Thank you for that. Gut health affects so much. Like, it affects our immune system. It affects our ability to function on a regular basis. If you put hard to digest foods in your body takes all the energy it has and tries to digest that food. So you have no energy. And it's like crazy to me. That's why we go deal with the afternoon crash, because you don't have enough nutrients, or because you have a hard to digest meal. Like, you have a steak and potato at noon with a beer. And don't tell me it doesn't happen. A lot of my friends I grew up in Calgary. A lot of my friends are Calgary, downtown Calgary. Like, who wants to go for lunch? So they have steak, potatoes, and beer. I have lemon water and salad. I know it sounds ridiculous, right? But that's how it goes. Like, um, I guess but that's how it goes. I mean, that's how it is. Those are the life chat. Um, I just had some. That kind of seems rude. Dorothy was like, "Where are you doing your live? I want to check it out." But because I told her I'm going to jump on live this morning, so I had to tell her I'm here in case you want to check it out. But I'm not going to be here too long. I'm just telling you, like, we all have to make choices. But when it comes to, like, your energy, for example, we're putting these foods in our body that's hard to digest, and we just don't connect the two things. Like, why don't I have, like, oh, I got a stomach ache or I'm bloated, and I have no energy? They don't put those two together. And then on top of that, understand that food plays a role with that as well. So there's some. So Jen mentioned, what did you say, Jen? Gut health directly affects inflammation. That's right. And like, I mean, so we're continually inflamed and we're continually in pain, and we don't consider what other aspects are happening in our life. So if you guys are watching, let me know that you're in here. They changed the privacy settings on Facebook, so I can't see in people in groups unless you say, "Hey, how you doing?" Okay, so my quick recipe. I just said at the beginning. I said it was kind of funny that so we have CTP as a meal replacement, and now that we have an isolate, people are like, "Oh, I need more nutrients than a protein." So, but with a meal replacement, as CTP is, you can't turn that into an isolate. Do you know what I mean? But with our vanilla protein, which is an isolate, you can turn that into a meal. So I'm gonna show you exactly what that's like, or I'm gonna show you a recipe to turn that into a meal in just a second. Morning, Jane. Jane, did you try your protein yet? I know it got there not too long ago. I'm gonna have to do follow-ups here soon, like, because it's been a couple weeks, been 2 or 3 weeks, and hopefully most people have opened it and tried it. It's always a bit like like we put a lot of time into our product, and I don't think a lot of people have designed their own products, but it's like your kids, you know. You don't want people to put down your kids. Like, maybe if you have a kid and you go talk to the teacher, how's the kid doing in parent teacher interviews, right? How's my kid doing in class? Oh, they're a troublemaker, they're not doing their work. You don't want to hear that. But when it's important for us, like, to follow up and to ask our customers how things are going, how they like the product, are they using it. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs don't do that, which is a big mistake in my opinion. So it's time for me to follow up. And I think, like, some sometimes I'm worried about, like, oh, I don't want to hear, like, someday that's how it goes. Like, some days you get 5 people that say, oh, it was horrible, I didn't like it, blah blah blah. We have a bunch of different products, and you get all kinds of different feedback. And some days I feel like I have to be, like, very strong and confident to make those calls and send those messages, because I don't know what feedback is going to come. And then of course you get those days where everything is, like, fantastic, like everything, oh, it's great, I love this, I love that. But that's part of it. I don't want people to to lie, or I don't want people to be like, oh yeah, it's great, never buying that again. Jane said I did. I love it. Thanks, Jane. We appreciate that. We have been getting some really good feedback. People have been enjoying so many different things of it. So we just have to continue to. Um, we got a lot of it, so we have to continue to talk about it, promote it, share it, and let people know that there's different options, and the difference between the options. Because so ours is $32 for that container there, and then we sell two for 59. So we give you a little bit of break if you buy two. But I think it's very comparable and very reasonable. Like I've done tons of market research around different products and what you get. But understand, like, so here's the thing, like a lot of people, they just look at the serving size and they look at the quantity, like how many servings is it going to last. So how much does it weigh and how many servings? That's what people ask. But in a lot of cases, people don't ask about the ingredients. So they'll compare ours, we have organic ingredients, fermented ingredients, and sprouted ingredients, all better quality, all better for absorption, digestion. Your body will utilize, absorb, turn into energy this product much better than a really cheap product. So you might get a product like this for, let's say, the same price in the same, not the same price, the same serving size and the same weight. So and then you might find that for 28.99. They're very, the prices are very comparable. You might find some super cheap, but I would caution you strongly to stay away from those ones. So let's say you find one for like 19.99. Let's just say, like, understand that those ingredients are probably the lowest you could find, because there's like the margin, like their ingredients have to be super cheap for them to be able to sell a product that cheap. And if you have cheap ingredients, understand that that's going to create inflammation in your body, like we talked about with Jen. That's going to create digestive issues. And then people are going to compare that cheap one to ours, and they're going to be like, oh, well, that one didn't work, so yours isn't going to work either. But again, so we have a good quality product with good quality ingredients, and people just look at the serving size and how much it weighs. Then they look at their container that they got at the discount rack, and they're like, oh, well, why would I take yours? Just because of the education, which is why we're here. So Jen says, I was violently reminded of when I chose to have a steak for lunch yesterday. I felt like garbage, but it was delicious. Thanks for sharing that with us, Jen. And that's the thing. Like, I really appreciate your honesty, Jen. Like, I wonder if it's like, anyways. Let me try to stay on topic. I appreciate your honesty, Jen, because you know what? I think, like, we don't judge. Like, first of all, we don't judge. I think a lot of people think if they tell us the truth, we're gonna be like, oh my gosh. Or we talked about this all the time. Someone sees us in the grocery store, they like hide their grocery cart from us, which is also kind of funny. But like, we don't really care. Like, you make your own decisions. But the thing is, we say that you don't always have to never have these foods again. Like, we don't necessarily promote steak for digestion purposes and other reasons, especially the size. Like, if you're gonna have steak, have a like 4 ounce, not 12 ounce. But we tell people, like, once you start to eat cleaner or put better foods in your body, or different foods that will help digest, for example, you'll start to crave those different foods. And again, I'm not saying you should never have a steak. I'm just saying often the size of the steak matters. Often when you're eating it matters. Um, and there's a lot of factors in there. And we know farmers, and I have family that are farmers, and I don't want to put that industry down or those people down. I'm just saying, like, understand what you're putting in your body, how much you're putting in your body, what it's going to do to your body. So I'm not saying that you should never have a bag of chips, or you should never have a Blizzard from Dairy Queen. Like that's your own choice. All I'm saying is, like, when we talk about this and teach this lifestyle, is that eventually you'll want those foods less. Like, you'll naturally gravitate. The more you have better types of food in your body, the more you want better types of food. And every once in a while, you go back and you have something that you probably shouldn't have. Like, I'll tell you real quick. I used to love Blizzards. It was like a childhood thing for me. Like, I love Blizzards. It was like a treat. So then I got became an adult and I made my own choices and I had my own money, so I'd go and get blizzards when I felt like it. And then I started to clean up my diet and clean up my digestion and lifestyle. And this is a slow process over the years. So every once in a while, I would go and grab a blizzard. And I used to get a big blizzard. And then I would slowly decrease and I got a smaller blizzard and a smaller blizzard. Then I would get the smallest one, which was still, so, and it's still like $7, which also bothers me. Like $7 for that much ice cream or whatever it is, it's overpriced regardless, especially for what you're getting. And so so this didn't matter. I had a big one and I got a stomach ache, and I had a smaller one and I'm like, okay, I want a blizzard, but I'm going to get a smaller one. And so I kept getting a smaller one and a smaller one. And then it didn't matter. So I was down to the smallest one, and I would have them less frequently as well, and I would still get a stomach ache. So I've avoided them for quite some time now. I'm not quite sure when the last time I had one was. But now when I think of them, I have a correlation with stomach aches. So Dorothy and I joke all the time. We drive Dairy Queen. I'm like, hey, you want to stop for a stomach ache? And in most cases, it's like, no, thanks. Like I don't, like I said, I don't remember the last time I had one. And it's not to say I'm never going to have one again, but I'm just saying, like, consider what you're putting in your body, because it's going to make a difference. Um, Jane says, so true. My stomach always tells me when I go over the edge. Sometimes it's worth it, but usually not. Yeah. Yeah. In most cases, it's not worth it. For example, like you have a meal that you don't, I mean, you have a meal that you don't necessarily have very often, and you enjoy it. Like, it tastes good, you enjoy it, and it's over with. So that meal is over with in, I don't know, like, it should take you at least 30 minutes to eat a meal. It takes most people 5 to 10 minutes to eat a huge meal. Again, why we deal with digestion issues. But if you eat your meal slowly and enjoy it, it'll last longer as well. But let's say it takes you 20 minutes to eat a meal. In most cases, we're dealing with stomach ache issues, constipation, or diarrhea or digestion issues for an hour after. So for me, like, that trade-off of 20, 30 minutes of enjoying that meal to feeling horrible for the next couple hours, and then maybe even feeling guilty the next day, just doesn't seem to even out for me. So let me get into this recipe here. Do you like my kitchen? Do you like my beautiful kitchen? I thought that was a nice background. I thought that was a nice background to show you a recipe. Okay, so if you look at yogurt in general, like, yogurt is, you could look at, I guess it really depends, but I would look at yogurt as a carb for most cases, unless you get like a really clean. I'm not like a super yogurt person, so you have to bear with me. I used to eat yogurt all the time, but yogurt's ingredients are rarely clean. There's tons of sugar and tons of, like, modified starch and all kinds of nonsense in there. So in most cases, it's a carb, but you can find better, cleaner ones that are higher in protein and I believe lower in carbs. But I would read the ingredients at any time. So I put yogurt in here. This is dairy-free yogurt. Again, you can use dairy yogurt if you want. So and then this is at 0 sugar. But what's nice about vanilla protein is it's flavored, and I mean, it's flavored and there's no sugar in there. So what I'm going to do, so you have your carbs. So in most cases, you want to to make a meal, you want to have all your macronutrients. So you want to have a protein, a slow carb, you want to have antioxidants and fiber. Oh my gosh, protein, carb, fat, antioxidants, and fiber. Yes, I say it all the time. Okay, so we're going to sprinkle some hemp seeds into our yogurt. Okay, so hemp seeds are a superfood, which means they're a complete protein. They have all the essential amino acids. So this is actually, you're adding protein in here. These also have tons of healthy fats. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hold this up high enough so you can see, and hopefully I don't miss the bowl. Okay, I don't really measure. You could probably put 2 to 4 tablespoons in there, depending on your preference or palate. Okay, and then I'm going to mix that up. So now we have our carb, is the yogurt, and now we have healthy fats and even added protein. So we have two of our antioxidants. There's also lots of fiber. I don't have an added fiber. Like for me, an added fiber is like, in most cases, is a vegetable. So I'm not gonna throw a vegetable in here. But it's kind of cool. Is this lady she's growing tomatoes, and she gave me like a whole bowl of tomatoes, and it's sitting on my counter. So anytime I go there, I grab a tomato and pop it in my mouth. So tomato is actually a fruit, but it has tons of antioxidants, and it also has lycopene in it, which helps make your skin more elastic. So maybe that'll help some of you avoid those makeup companies. that, that I'm laughing at myself here, but like it's so ridiculous to me. Like oh, it's I just did a video. I just did a whole podcast on like the toxins we put on our bodies, but some of the promises that companies make are ridiculous, and then we believe them. Like we eat them up. Like, oh, I could look like a 19-year-old. Like I don't really enjoy wrinkles or gray hair, but I don't want to look like a 19-year-old either. So. At any rate, okay. So then, of course, we have our protein. So now I'm just gonna sprinkle my protein. So when I put this in my yogurt, I just use a half a scoop. That's just because it mixes better with a half a scoop. Only like I could make it mix better if I was gonna eat more yogurt, but that's about as much yogurt as I want. That's probably a cup of yogurt. Okay, and then I'm gonna mix this up, and that's it. So with this, for example, that you have 25 grams of protein with just the protein, like the protein powder, and then we added hemp seed, which is again is a complete protein, also has healthy fats, and then we have our yogurt, which is a slow carb. So you have a pretty complete meal right here. And that's it. Like this could be a breakfast. Like like this could be a breakfast, right? How many people say I don't have time for breakfast, or I don't have time to cook, or I don't feel like it, or I don't have the ingredients? Like go and buy 3 ingredients, put it on your counter. What? Jen says, whoa, this live escalated quickly. I know, like lives are. I feel like lives are dangerous, like because it's so challenging. Like I know, like it's so like in today's day and age, there's so like people are like irate about life in general because of COVID, but you can't share your opinion without people like attacking you, which I think is crazy. Like you used to be able to like share your opinion, but now but those are I'm just joking. Like I don't care what people do about like I don't care if you're like you want to buy if you want to buy things that put toxins in your body. Like for example, like that one's easy. Like the makeup or cosmetic one is easy to because it's so like I get like spam daily of companies being like, hey, have you heard of this product? It's good for men too. And I'm like, no, I'm like, just look a little bit what I'm about before you try to sell me something. Like before you go and sell something, you should find out who the person is, what they do, what they believe in. For example, if I run into someone that's completely against um, protein supplements, then why would I message them and say, hey, do you want some protein supplements? So that one's an easy one for me to make fun of, but I can make fun of any like toothpaste company or soap company. What did you say, Jen? Also teasing. We can't all be beautiful. Oh, thank you, Jen. Well, secretly, I actually use those companies, so that's why I look like this. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Like I don't even know if I should get into it. Like there's a lot of like we're in LA, like we're in LA, but it's everywhere now. It's everywhere. Like all like facelifts and Botox and like things that make you look younger, and it's something that we deal with, like we deal with on a regular basis, like as we get older, like like how you deal with the gray hairs, and how do you deal with like the wrinkles. Like I don't like them any more than anyone else. Um, at this point in my life, I wouldn't do any of those other cosmetic things that some people are doing. And like I said, there's no judgment, but someone asked us like, how do you live in an area that's like it's seemingly quite superficial with everyone's how you look and how you like how your body looks and how your face looks, and you got the bright white teeth and you know what it's like. How do you live like that? And I just say like we're really strong in our beliefs and our values and like what we believe in, and that is what I mean, that's our core. Like that's what we believe in. That's not going to change or alter. So we're just strong in what we believe in, so that other stuff really doesn't bother us. Like it doesn't really affect us very much. So anyways, so this is a different way for you to enjoy your protein. I don't think you want to watch me eat that on camera, but I just wanted to give you a different idea in a different perspective. And of course, you're in a safe space. There is no judgment here. Whatever you guys want to talk about or whatever you want to share, I'm always open to discussing. But that's just a simple way. I think if we did a better job of reading ingredients, paying attention to what we were putting in our body, we would be healthier as a whole. And that's what we're all about. We want to teach you that if you choose better, you'll have a more of an opportunity to feel better. Like choose better ingredients, choose better for yourself. It's about a lifestyle. It's about a lifestyle aspect, if you will. It's a holistic. It's not just one thing. Like we're not just talking about seeing how much protein you can get in, for example. We're talking about better quality ingredients, better quality of life, what you put in your body, what you put in your body. That's how we roll. We just finished an amazing detox group, 7-day detox group around detoxify yourself. And it was so cool. Jen was in there. And it was awesome. We had great conversations and we talked about ingredients. That's something that I really enjoy talking about. So, but we got more tips and suggestions and ideas. We're actually going to do a free smoothie challenge, smoothie and shake challenge here in the near future coming up. So we're going to post recipes every day. We'll do lives every day. We'll do a 7-day challenge around smoothies and shakes, and we'll teach you all about different recipes, how to make your smoothies, how to change them or alter them, and then how to use different protein supplements like this. Like that's just a super easy way to make a whole meal. Like that's could be anyone's breakfast in the morning. And you know what the thing is? A lot of people say, "Oh, I can't have breakfast," because they go for like 10 years never eating breakfast. And then one time they try to have breakfast, and their body's like, "What are you doing to me?" So then they deal with digestion issues, and then they're like, never having breakfast again. So this like so we have to have put so and then in many cases it's like you go and have a big meal, like you have pancakes and scrambled eggs, and you go to a restaurant, and you're like, oh, what did I do? But this would be a really nice recipe for you to that's easy to digest for people just getting into breakfast and just trying to feel better about themselves and get nutrition in their body first thing in the morning. Jen says yes, it was pretty awesome, great group to work with. Yeah, that was our detox group. It was fantastic. I was grateful for that group too. I'm going to wrap things up here though. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out with me this morning. I know there's a handful of you in here silently watching, which is all good. Thanks to Jane and Jen. If you're watching the replay, let me know you're watching the replay in the comments. And if you want to get your hands on some protein, let us know. We can definitely set that up for you. John just jumped in here. Morning, John. I'm out of here. Have a wonderful day, and I will catch you guys later.